entities. It's a relationship between entity and entity. So that is called a relationship. Why? Because we need to take care of such a relationship between entity in our database. Who works for which department? That's important information that you need to model and you need to build in the database. So that is the reason we don't want to throw away such important information. That is that we try to keep such information as relationship. Okay? In case there are two different entities, this is called binary relationship. Then, what about the three relationships? Yes, that's doable. Four entities. 3 entities, 4 entities, 5 entities. Yes, that's doable. We will see the next class. So, but the typical thing is 2 entities are involved in the relationship. This is called a binary relationship. What else in our description? What about the main work on several projects? Works on. Employee works on project. Project is entity. Employee is the entity. So we can find the relationship. Works on relationship. But any difference between works on and works for relationship? Same. Anyone? Anyone can find? It's not easy to find difference.
Works on the department itself and works for another project.
Yeah, that's different. But what I'm saying is,
We can create a new entity for
new entity?
One.
No. Yes.
one project.
Let's manage the work.
One employee can work.
Yes, that's different. Actually, different entity. But what I'm asking is,
We can
Employee can work on many projects.
oh yes,
And one project can have many employees work.
but department, employee can work. Why don't you read carefully? Each employee works for one department, right? And one department may have many. Even that does not mention in here. It's a common sense. One department, there are many. Okay? It's kind of one-to-many relationship. One department may have many employees. However, what about the works on? One employee can work on several projects, many projects. Also, project have many employees. It's kind of many-to-many relationship. Why don't you think about the diagram in your elementary school when you learn the set? This is called one-to-one mapping. And this one is called one-to-many. This one is called many-to-many mapping. Exactly same. This is entity, this is entity. This is employee, this is department. This is one employee can work one department. One department may have many employees. Okay, like this. It's a many to one. So it's called, location is n to 1 or 1 to n relationship. It's called the degree of the relationship. Okay? Works on is many to many. N to n relationship. It's important when we create the real database depending on the types of relationship. Another one is, as I said, one-to-one relationship. There are 3. One-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many. Can you find any one-to-one relationship here? Actually, I gave you the hint for relationship. It's italic font. So italic font are all the relationship. So among that italic font, can you find any one-to-one? So why don't you take a look at the first one, manage. One how many managers do you have in one department? Usually one. So one-to-one mapping. Okay? I know some of the employees are managers, some of the others are not, but still one-to-one mapping. Okay?
Between departments and employees.
Yes,
It's
so
one-to-one.
Yes. The next one is control. Each department control a number of projects, which means one-to-many relationship. Others, works for we already did, works on we already did. The supervisor. Supervisor is one-to-one or one-to-many?
One-to-many.
One-to-many. One supervisor may have many employees. However, in this supervisor, Lee supervise hotel. Lee supervise and James. This is employee. This is employee. How many entities? Two. Actually, they are the same, but they are different in your concept, in your logical concept. This is for supervisor entity, employee. This is for supervising, okay, the entity, even though they are the same employees. Okay, so still binary relationship. It's called recursive relationship. Okay, we will see in details later. Those are the relationships. Okay, so this is a relationship between employee and department. It's not one-to-many. Okay, don't be confused. Me, I confused a lot. This is a many employee works for one department, many-to-one relationship. Okay, don't be confused. Then this one, many employee works for the same project. One project may have many employees, so it's a many-to-many relationship. Okay.
M stands for many, sir?
Yeah, M stands for many.
N stands for one. N.
And also many. L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. Those are the many. Okay? But we have only the two binary relationships. So many to many or M or N is enough. Okay? So it's also same mechanism as you learned in the entity. Entities, group of entities will be entity type. And by combining entity type and entities, it will be entities. Same thing. Relation, you can find a bunch of relation. Lee supervise Patel. Lee supervise James. Lee supervise anyone. These are relationship. So by grouping, employee supervise employee. That is called relationship type. Okay? Then, by grouping relationship type and relationship is called relationship set. Informally, I'm going to use relationship only, interchangeably. However, in your exam, you need to realize the difference. Okay? It's the same thing. One more thing. What about the attribute? Do we have attribute for relationship? Usually, mostly not, but sometimes there are attributes. For example, second sub-bullet of employee. We keep track of the number of hours per week that an employee currently works on each project. Can you find the number of hours in our previous design? In attribute? No. Works on is the attribute for works on. So that means even the attribute relationship can have the attribute. However, we have three types of attribute: one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many. In case one-to-one and one-to-many, even though you have the attribute, it can be part of what? It can move to one side because it's one. Relationship is the same as the entity. So it's one side. So actually there is no attribute in one-to-one or one-to-many. Instead, however, many-to-many. For example, this one, you don't know how many hours employee 1 works on project 1. If you create the attribute over here, vice versa, if you create the attribute number of hours project, you don't know each employee how many hours each employee works on. Instead, you should have the attribute for this relationship. So that's the key point. You need to keep your mind. We will learn later how we can handle such an attribute for relationship. Notation, finally. So we use the rectangle for the entity and over for attribute, underline for key attribute, double whatever. For the relationship, we are going to use diagonal. And in case you have the attribute, you can connect with over. Okay, that's it. Then connect to corresponding entity using the line. So that is the reason when you see the symbol of the database design or ER modeling, you can see lots of this kind of the symbol, rectangle and diamond, because diamond represent the relationship and rectangle represent the entity. But somebody may ask a question to me. I have different textbook. It doesn't have any diamond. It has the different notation. Yes, that's true. There are a bunch of different notation, even in ER modeling. So I'm going to use the notation used in this textbook, but it's not a big deal to catch up the other guy's notation. That's not very important. The more important thing is whether or not you can model, design the concept. Okay? So from now on, we are going to use such a notation, but we are going to have the exercise lab next week. At that time, we will use Orwin software, ERWin software. Orwin software use different notation even. They do not have the diamond. Instead, they use just simply rectangle only. It's similar to the UML model. Okay? But I believe you guys can understand such a different notation. Okay? Then finally, we can have these are all the relationships that we can find from our requirement, like the works for employee department, managing employee department. Even not only for the one relationship, two same entities may have many relationships. We will see. Department, project, control. Employee, project, or so on. Employee and employee. One stands for supervising, and another one is for supervisor. Independent, employee and dependent. And finally, we can have such a nice ER diagram. It's not completed yet, and almost we did the ER modeling in 1 hour. That's the benefit of using ER modeling. It's not very complicated to understand the ER modeling itself. However, it will be difficult. So somebody may ask, why don't you design the JC Morgan entire company? When I joined the first project in a bank, the database has more than 3,000 entities. So project manager has printed out all the ER diagram and the flip on entire work. So huge. So it's full of the ER diagram on one side. Okay? You will see such a big. Yeah, that's true. 3,000 entities are. So, however, I don't want for you to design such a huge database in your project. at least 5 to 10 entities. So you can read carefully the minimum requirement. Let's take a look at this one. Works for many to one relationship. Many employees works for one department. Okay? Then you can use this one. What is the double line? Sometimes it has a single line, double line. I will explain the next class. Manages one-to-one relationship and works on many-to-many relationship, but it has hours. Okay. However, if we have, suppose that we have the attribute for works for, it can move to one side because it's a one-to-one mapping. It's a one side. For each department, it has many. So any attribute in many to one or one to one can move to one side. So don't worry. What about this? It's an employee, between employee and employee. One is for supervisor, another one is supervising. Think about, I'm the advisor of you. But I can be advising of some other. Okay, that is the recursive relationship. What is this? Is it the relationship dependent? We will see next class. What is the double diagonal? And the other, pretty much we discussed. And dot line, we don't know yet what is. Okay? One-to-n relationship. And double line, yes. So we did most of the thing. Then next class we will complete the EI diagram. Okay. Then if we have a time, we will have the more exercise to design, to use the EI model to design the database. Any question? Don't forget to bring the hand up. I'm going to use this one. Also, it has a nice summary for the notation, so you can still use until before the midterm exam. Cannot bring this notation to your exam. Yes.